Okay, so hello guys. So today's our topic will be simplify rational expression. Okay, so we're gonna simplify some rational expression. Okay, so before we actually doing any question, let's take a look about the important property first. Okay, there's only one really important property for this topic. So what you can see over here, we have the property of the fundamental principle of the rational expressions, right? So let me just read it. Okay, so we have this, right? For polynomial s p q r and r, p q and r, okay, p over q is equal to pr over qr, 1 q not equal to 0 and r not equal to 0. So that's basically the property. Okay, so we have, we basically have a polynomial p, q, and r, and the property here, what they say is that we have, p over q is equal to pr over qr, and you guys always know it. You guys know it, right? So we just cannot let the denominator equal to 0. So that's why over here we have q not equal to 0 and r not equal to 0. Okay. So that's the only really important property in order for us to actually solving those problems. Okay, so you just keep in mind this property. Okay, because we're gonna use it a little. We're gonna use it. Okay, so let's move into the question side. Okay, so let's see. I think we totally got a question, right? So we totally got a question. So we're gonna go through them one by one, detailedly. Okay. Hopefully at the end you guys does learn something and know better how to simplify it. Okay. So let's jump into example 1. Okay, question 1. So I just gonna zoom in a little bit to make sure you guys can see it really clear. Okay. So the first question what we have is 16 over 24, right? To make it easy for you guys, to actually simplify it, let's show you guys a little bit detail. Okay, a little bit, the things make sense. Okay, so we all know that 16 is actually equal to 4 multiplied by 4, right? So, and we know 24 is actually equal to 6 multiplied by 4, right? So you can see over here 4 and 4 get cancelled, right? And the only thing left what we have is 4 and 6, right? So we can actually simplify a little bit more, because we know 4 is actually 2 multiplied by 2, right? And then 6 is actually equal to 6 is equal to 2 multiplied by 3, right? So 2 and 2 get cancelled, right? 2 and 2 get cancelled. So that leave the answer as 2 over 3. Right, so that's we finished the simplification okay, and the answer over here is 2 over 3. Okay, all right, so that's basically, we are actually applying the property over here, right? So basically, for question 1, I already show you guys, how we are actually applying the property. So this is basically the way how we apply it, right? Okay, so let's move into question 2. Okay, so question 2, okay, so let us actually, let us basically cancel some terms at the beginning. Okay, so your goal is you want to simplify it, so you want to cancel out the terms, right? So that is your goal, right? You want to make sure you simplify to the simplest form, right? So over here what we have is 10x squared, right? So 10 is actually equal to 5 multiplied by 2x squared, right? And on the denominator what we have is 15x to the power 4. 15 is actually equal to 5 multiplied by 3x to the power 4, right? And then now you can see we can actually cancel out the 5, right? And then that leaves the answer to 2x squared, and 3x to the power 4, right? So now you should be able to see that, x squared get cancelled, right? And then 4 become 2, right? So now you can see our solution for this question is actually, 2. Let me actually write a little more clear, okay? I think it's a little bit, okay, so the answer over here, now you can see the answer over here is actually 2 over 3x to the power 2, right? Okay. Okay, so let's move into question 3, all right? Yeah, as you guys notice, we does actually apply it, right? We does apply the property, right? So, okay, so in this question 3, what we have is 3c squared d squared over 6b c to the power 3 d to the power 3, right? So first of all, let's simplify the integer over here, okay? So now I think you guys does understand it, so let's do it in a little bit fast way, okay? In a fast way. So you can see over here, excuse me, so we can actually just cancel 3 and then 6 become 2, right? And then you can see there's a b over here. There's a b on the denominator, but we don't actually have to do anything on b because we don't have a b on the numerator, right? So we actually just leave b at it is, right? And then now you can see we have a c to the power 2, c to the power 2, right? So it just get cancelled, and then this 3 just become 1, right? And then for d is also get cancelled, and then d to the power 3 also become 1, right? So now you can see, this is kind of like a fast wave, okay? It's kind of like a fast wave. So if you're good enough, you can actually doing this. You can actually, you can just see the answer right away by canceling all the terms, okay? Alright, so the answer over here, we finished the simplification, and the answer is 1 over 2bcd, okay? Alright. So let's move into question 4. So question 4 again is kind of like the same way, okay? I will tell you guys again, we're gonna finish this question as also the fast wave, okay? So you can see at the top we have a 10, right? We have a negative 10, so we can actually cancel out 10 and then make it become 2, and then the bottom 50 will become 3, right? So you guys all know that 10 is actually equal to 5 multiplied by 2, right? 10 is equal to 5 multiplied by 2, and 15 is actually equal to 5 multiplied by 3. So 5 get cancelled, and then the thing left is 2 and 3, right? Okay. So now we can actually cancel some terms. We can cancel more terms, right? We can cancel this a, right? And then this part become 2, right? And then we can cancel this b to the power square, right? And then this b become 2, right? And then c also get cancelled, 3 become 2, right? Makes sense, right? So now I know it's kind of like a little bit mess. That's why you want to make sure you does write down the right number, okay? You want to make sure you does write down the number. We have negative 2a to the power 2, b is gone, and then c is to the power 2, right? So that's the only thing what we have for the numerator. And then the bottom we have a 3, and then a is gone, and then b is b to the power 2, and then c is also gone, right? So now we have the solution. Now we basically finish the simplify, right? Okay, so you can see over here, just we cannot actually simplify any more than this, right? Okay. So keep in mind, I know that if you actually want to finish this in one step, I mean the thing over here, the thing over here, you do it isn't quite nicely, but try to keep in mind, try to write on the right number, okay? Try to write on the right number, okay? So it should be okay, okay? All right. So let's move into question 5. Okay, question 5. So over here, what you can see is that question 5 getting a little bit complex, right? So for question 5, what we have is 4r squared minus 25x squared over 2r squared plus 3rs minus 20s squared. So it's kind of like, right? It's kind of like, you may thinking about like, it's quite difficult, but it's actually not. Okay, so basically, okay, let me actually recall one of the property. Okay, so the recall one of the property. Okay, so let me actually write a little bit more clear. So let us recall one of the property is a plus b, a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared. Okay, so we can actually using this property right here for the numerator. Okay, so if I think upon this one, you guys should know this property really well. So we just gonna write it down the answer. Okay, so we just gonna write it down the answer. Okay. All right. So you know that, right? So this is how we actually simplify the numerator, right? So you can see what we have a 4r squared. We have a 4r squared, right? So that's why we have 2r, and then that's why we have 2r, right? So because 2r multiplied by 2r is 4r squared, right? And then we have a negative 25s squared. So that's why you write it down 5s, right? You write it down 5s because 5s multiplied by negative 5 is negative 25s squared, right? So that's right? Okay. So now we focus on, now we try to simplify the denominator. Okay, so now we try to simplify the denominator. Okay, so over here, as we have done many questions, I think upon this point you guys should be able to see it. But okay, so let me still show you how you can actually factor out this trinomial. Okay, so you write it down 2r and then r, and the right combination over here, I think is, I think it is this. Let me actually change the order. So here, okay, so it's actually 4 and then negative 5. Okay, so the right combination over here is this way. Okay, let me check again. Yeah, this is gonna be the right combination. Okay, so we just gonna write it down 2r minus 5. Okay, so we actually have missing an s over here. Okay, so you write it down 5s because we have a negative 20s squared over here. So we definitely have to write it down negative 5s and then 4s. Okay, so let us write it down r plus 4s. Okay. So now you can see we does finish the simplification, right? So I mean, if you kind of confused about how we actually factor out the denominator, then take a look about my previous video. Okay. Otherwise, I feel like upon this going, you guys should have no problem with this kind of factorization. Okay. So now you can see. Now let's go back to question. Okay, so now we have a 2r minus 5s, and then you can see over here we have a 2r minus 5s. So those two terms can get cancelled, right? So those two terms get cancelled. Let me move it down a little bit, and then we basically finished the factorization. We basically finished the simplification, right? Okay, so let me write it down the solution. Okay, so the major thing in order for you to actually solve this question is using different kind of method to factor out first, right? So that's basically what we do over here. We try to factor out the denominator and the numerator, right? And then we cancel the terms, and then we finish the simplification. Okay, so the answer over here is this. Okay, 2r plus 5s over r plus 4s. So you can see we can actually no longer simplify any more than that, right? Okay. let's move into question 6. Okay, question 6. Okay, so first thing first, in order to simplify the thing over here, we have to actually we have to do the factory stuff, right? So you can see we have a 3a minus 12 at the numerator, and obviously 3 will be the greatest common factor, right? 3 will be the JZF, right? So you put 3, you take out 3, and then you write it down a minus 4, right? So that we finish the factory for the numerator, right? So right, okay. And let's take a look about the denominator, okay? So denominator, you guys, we're talking about this property many times, right? So recall the property, right? A plus b, a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared, right? So you can see over here the question, the denominator is exactly we have to use the property to actually factory it, right? So we have 4 plus a and then 4 minus a, right? So right, okay. Okay, so now you can see now what we have to do is that we have to so you can see over here what we have is a minus 4, but at the bottom right at the denominator what we have is 4 minus a, right? So in order to doing this, you have to doing something like this, okay? You put a negative outside 3 and then you make it become 4 minus a, okay? So basically the thing over here is we have to switch the side. We have to switch the side in order to cancel the terms 4 minus a, right? We have to switch the sides in order to cancel the term 4 minus a. So that's why we're putting a negative outside, right? So what we have over this part, right? What we have over this part is we have a 3a minus 4, right? And then we want to switch the side, so that's why we have to add a negative outside, so it becomes negative 4 minus a, right? So now we write it down the denominator 4 plus a and then 4 minus a. Now we are actually able to cancel the terms, right? So 4 minus a, excuse me, okay. So now we are actually able to cancel the 4 minus a the terms, right? So we just cancel all the terms, and then we basically done with the question, right? So okay, so the answer over here is actually this one. Okay, so now we basically finished the simplification. Okay, sorry, sorry, right? So this is the answer. Okay, so this is the answer. Okay. So let's move into question 7, right? Not many questions left. So question 7, again, you look at this. So we want to simplify it. So we have to do in the factory. We have to factory it in order to simplify it, right? Okay. So over here, let's first focus on the denominator. Okay. I think up on this point, you guys should be able to see it right away how you actually factor out the denominator. Okay, so the denominator, what we have is 3 plus x and then 3 minus x. That's exactly how we apply the property, right? Okay. And now we want to actually factor out the numerator, right? We want to factor out the numerator, which is this part, right? So let me actually write it down, okay? So you write it down 2x and x. So you can actually write it down this, you can actually doing those factorization in another paper, okay? So you write it down 2x and x, and then the right combination over here is, I think, is -3 and then -1, okay? Let me check again. Let me check again. Yeah, we are actually right. I think we are right on this part. So so the right combination is over here. Okay, so the right combination is this. Okay, So now you can see, now you basically can see over here we have a x minus 3, and the bottom we have a x3 minus x, right? So we have on the numerator we have a x minus 3, and on the denominator we have a 3 minus x. So that means we have to switch the sides, right? So as I tell you guys before, how we actually switch the side, you just put in a negative, right? So it's still going to be equivalence, right? It's still going to be equivalence, right? So we put a negative before it, and then it is still going to be equivalence. So we're still gonna we write it down the denominator, 3 plus x and then 3 minus x, and now we can actually cancel out those two terms, right? So we can actually cancel out the terms, and that basically leave the answer as 3 plus x at the bottom, and on the top you write it down negative 2x plus 1. Okay, don't forget, we have a negative over here. That's why the thing in the bracket becomes negative 2x plus 1. Okay, so now you can see, for question 7, with this, for question 7, this is the answer, right? So we finished the simplification. Okay, right? So let's move into question 8. Okay, so let me see, is there any more question? No. So question 8 will be the last question. Okay, question 8 will be the last question. So pause the video and then try this question by yourself. Okay, right? Okay, now we're gonna doing this question together. Okay, we're gonna doing this question together. First, as I said before, when you actually solving a question, you first have to examine you first want to examine the question first, and then when you examine it, you are thinking about how I can actually simplify this, right? How I can actually simplify this, right? So you look at question 8, and then you see we cannot actually apply any property over here, right? Okay, or we just cannot using the method of how we solving those trinomial, right? So okay, so over here we have to using another method. Okay, so let me actually show you guys how we actually doing this question. Okay, so over here we have to picking two terms. Okay, we basically over here we have to picking terms. All right, so let's focus on the numerator. Okay, let's focus on the numerator. Okay, so the term we have to choose is 5b minus 15 and ab minus 3a. So that this is going to be the term which we're going to choose it. Okay, so I mean right now you may still don't understand why I'm actually saying about those terms, because over here this is going to be the way how we actually going to solve it. Okay, so let me show you how this method is going to work. Okay, so you can see over here between those two terms we can actually factor out a, right? We can actually factor out a. So follow my way. Okay, follow my way. You will understand later why we actually have to do it with those two terms. Okay, so on the first term, ab minus 3a, we can actually factor out a, right? And then we make it become b minus 3, right? And we look at the second term. The second term what we have on the numerator, what we have is 5b minus 15, right? So we can actually factor out 5, right? We can actually factor out 5, and then we make it become b minus 3, right? So you can see now we can actually factor out b minus 3, right? Okay, so now you can see things make sense, right? Okay, so before we go any further, let's focus on the denominator first. Okay, now we try to factor out the denominator. Okay, now we're actually trying to factor out the denominator. All right. So for the denominator, we have to choosing those two, and the other two, and the other two as the two term. Okay, so we have to choose. You want to make sure you are actually choosing the right term in order to factor out things. Okay. But right here, the right term. So the right term for the denominator 1 is 15. It is 15 plus 3a squared. Okay. So you can see we can actually factor out 3, right? And that become 5 plus a squared, right? And let's focus on this part. Okay, the part over here, what we have is negative 5b minus a squared b, right? So we can actually factor out. A b, right? Because negative 5 and then negative a squared, right? Okay, so now things make sense, right? So basically the method we're using over here is we have to choosing the right term, and then we factor it, and then right, you guys get it, right? So let me repeat one more time. So the basic idea how we actually solving this problem is we basically try to combine terms, right? We just try to combine terms, like we want to factor out with those two terms, right? And then we try to find we actually try to find the same factory, right? So that's basically our goal over here, right? So we actually try to find the same factory in order to actually factor out one more time, right? Okay, so let me show you. Okay, so you can see on the top we have a b minus 3 as a common term, as the greatest common factor, right? So you can just write it down a plus 5, right? So you can see over here we have a and then we have a plus 5. So that's our goal. Now we completely factor out the numerator, right? That's how we actually solving this type of question. Okay, so you are trying to actually finding some terms and trying to factor in. You guys understand it, right? So we are actually trying to find some terms, and then we want to find terms and finding the right term, and then factor out. After we factor it, and then we factor out, we factor out again. Okay, so you can see over here we have the same common term, so that's why we can actually factor out one more time, right? Okay, so on the denominator, what we have to do is you can see over here what we have is negative 5 minus a squared, right? So we can actually just pull out the negative, and then we make it become 5 plus a squared, right? So that's gonna work, right? So that's gonna work, right? Okay, so now you can see we write it down the numerator. What we have is b minus 3 a plus 5, right? And then now we can actually factor out the denominator. We can actually factor out the denominator, which is gonna be 5 plus a squared, and then 3 minus b. Okay, so you just write it down 3 and then minus b. Okay, you just write it down because we have the same greatest common factor, JCF, right? So you just write it down 3 minus b, right? So now up on this point, you can see over here we have a b minus 3, and over here we have a 3 minus b. So we have to reverse it, right? So we have to add in a negative, and then 3 minus b, and then 2 plus a, right? And then we have a we don't have anything over here. Okay, sorry. Then we just write it down 5 plus a squared, 3 minus b, right? So now we can actually cancel those two terms, right? So we can actually cancel all those two terms, and the answer will be leave as 5 plus a plus 5 and a squared plus 5, right? Let me actually write a little more clear, okay? A plus 5, a squared plus 5, okay? So the answer over here, the final solution over here will be negative a plus 5 over a squared plus 5, okay? Okay. So everything does make sense, right? So everything does make sense, right? Okay. Yeah. So basically, in this topic, right? In this topic, we're basically talking about how we actually simplify the rational expression, right? So we're also talking about some of the really important property, how we actually simplify it, right? How we actually simplify it, right? So basically the thing over here, this property is basically what we using in order to simplify it, right? And then over here we are basically doing those questions in order, right? So we just doing those questions, right? So to basically demonstrate how we actually using this, the property, right? Okay. So, alright. So basically, thanks to guys to watching the video. Okay. Hopefully, this video does help you guys a little bit. Okay. Alright. Don't forget to actually subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Leave a like. Click the notification on, okay, and also leave a comment, okay. If you still have any question, please leave a comment below. I will try to answer your question as soon as possible, okay, when I see the comments. All right. Otherwise, thank you guys watching my video. Have a good day. So see you guys on the next video, okay.